Hello, Zoraida.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hey, Chelsea. Hey, Helen.
Is Ben there too?
Oh, there's Petra.
This is Petra. Hey.
Chelsea. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for coming. You know, we're waiting for other folks to join us, so we're super appreciative to have you here in space with us again. This is number 15 or 16. It's somewhere up there. It's been a few months. Thank you again for being here, everybody. Oh, it's 16. Who said that? I lost the count. Hey, everyone. Welcome and thanks for stopping by. Yes, stopping by. We didn't schedule this and plan it out and send a whole agenda and the whole nine, right? Thanks, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Always love being in company with all you powerful people. Thanks again for coming to another PC Monday. I welcome you so much for being here. Sorry, there's a lot of activity outside my window and I'm that nosy neighbor. Anyway, welcome. And we're glad you're here and hope you're doing well. Of course, we want you to use the chat because we want to hear from you, but I would personally ask you to please pop off of mute and let us hear you if you have that kind of energy today. But we do want to hear from you either way, so make sure that you're replying to all the panelists and to the attendees so we can see your comments and not just certain people, right? We want to make sure everyone can get access to it. We're going to get started in just a minute, but for now, I would like to ask you and hear from each of you to let me know how a highlight from, not just me, but us, know a highlight from your weekend this weekend. And if you're here from Facebook, we appreciate you joining us. So go ahead and share your live and broadcast it to your page. But I'll model it, I'll start it, and then I'll pass it to someone to see if that will start the juices flowing. So a highlight from my weekend is I had my first in-person catering gig in 2 years. And it felt really great to cook for someone and to make their event just a little more special. Let's go to Patricia.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Honestly, today has felt like it's been 8 days, so I can barely remember what happened yesterday. Actually, I can't remember anything at all. I'm sure it was nice. It's summer. Jade and I went swimming, I think. So that's great. I'm gonna pass to Petra. Tell us what you did.
I like how you said, oh, it feels like it's been 8 days. That's kind of how my Monday went. And I'm trying to remember what I did with this weekend. Gosh, I got to see a bunch of friends that I haven't seen in over a year. So that was really beautiful to see them and talk to them and catch up and spend some time with my spouse and my parents. So it was lovely. I'm going to pass it off to Helen.
Hi everyone. Man, I missed everybody. This weekend I baked a cake last night and it turned out pretty good. It's a little chocolate cake, so I'm pretty proud of that. And let me see. Trying to figure out how I can see who else is here.
Help you, Helen, and also I want to welcome everyone back in space because we were gone for a whole week. So this is like our first jam since we've been back. Yay. Do you want me to help you pass it, Helen?
Yeah, I can't see who else is here. So okay. Yeah, if you can help me out.
Sure, no problem. I can pass it to Gabe, and then Vanessa, you can be next, and also let us know if there's any Facebook friends who are sharing their weekend fun stuff with us.
Thank you, Zoraida. I sat at a coffee shop and read for the first time since the pandemic. So that was really special. I still sat outside, but it was like amazing to go to a place that wasn't my home or my office and just like be in a place and read. And I was reading Carceral Capitalism, which is a great and appropriate read for our group here. So highly recommend.
Thank you. How about, I said Vanessa, and then you can also tell if their Facebook friends have any comments. Thanks, Gabe.
Hey, gosh, it feels like forever, but I just did little projects around the house and hung out with the family, and my mom was visiting, so yeah, it was really relaxing. Thank you.
Cool.
And who's going next?
Anyone on Facebook?
Yes, I put in the Facebook comment in the chat from Kaylin, and they said that a highlight from my weekend, I met up with some of my classmates from last semester in person for the first time, and we had a picnic, which sounds so lovely.
That's nice. I love that. What about Fatima?
This weekend, I also went swimming. Every year I forget because I just swim in the summer, so then I have to relearn. And my dad and my grandma are in town, so I've been spending time with family, and that's been fun. Let me see. Is anyone else left? Miss Rosalind, have you
Chelsea and
gone?
Chelsea and
Karen on Facebook said that she got to celebrate her good friend's daughter's first birthday. So I bet that was super cute. Thanks, Karen.
Oh, COVID baby got celebrated. Is that rude to say COVID baby? I think you know what I mean, but I say that. You know I did not mean any harm. Sorry, y'all. Chelsea and Ben.
Hi everyone. I think highlight was eating at Clever Koi and just, like being able to have a full, like be in a restaurant and not feel weird and have date night and like get dressed up and just like eat hella good food. So
I love that place. We'll talk later offline, so we're not doing free advertising about what I love the most, but they don't have to pay us for some advertising dollars to have that conversation further. Miss Rosalind, would you like to round us out?
Would I like to share?
Yeah.
I helped someone move this weekend and it was upstairs, downstairs. So what I learned is that I was the little engine that could. I think I can. Up and down those stairs. I was like, oh, I'm over it. But I did it. So that's how I spent my weekend.
Thank you.
Oh, and Zoraida, I think Ben didn't go.
Ben, well, Ben and Chelsea are together. Or did you have another highlight, Ben? Thank you, Fatima.
Well, yeah, we're going to a really good friend's wedding next weekend. And I got all the little pieces of things. I haven't dressed up for anything in probably like 2 years. So I got all the pieces together and they look good together. So I feel like, I'm ready to go. So.
Okay, stylist, you better come through. I guess I know who to call if I ever have an event to go to. Lucky Chelsea. I love a man with a fashion sense. I love people with a fashion sense. Karen said COVID board for sure. Thank you for correcting that. I could swallow myself whole for saying it the way I did so flippantly, but y'all know it came from the sweetest part of my heart. I'm so sorry. Congratulations to the COVID born baby for being celebrated in public for the first time. All right, let's get on with it. And so now that I've taken my foot and the marbles out of my mouth, let's move forward. So yeah, just another quick reminder to anyone who's live on Facebook, if you could share your broadcast. We thank you again for being out here and spending time with us. We have an information-filled night of abolition education, so I really hope you're ready. If you're here to actually see the Dave Biskuping expose from ABC 15, we can actually drop in the chat the link, but we are not going to review those clips tonight. In fact, we have a politically charged clip for you, but it's not the politically charged Mondays where it originated, but it's still gonna be live. So before we get into it, I wanna take a pause in honor that and just honor that today is May 24th. So one day and 1 year before the anniversary of the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis and of Deion Johnson here in Phoenix. So I'm going to give Ms. Roslyn a chance to help us take a deeper dive into that. Ms. Roslyn?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Zoraida, for bringing me in so gently. I thank you. And I want to also say, welcome to the Facebook world. Thank you so much for supporting us in this very momentous and meaningful moment. And tomorrow will mark the 1 year since these brutal and senseless murders have happened. And I spoke with Dion's mom today, and it was a very heartfelt conversation. And I asked her some things about Dion, and really wanted to check in on her wellness today. And so before I share with you what Irma has shared with me regarding Dion, I just want to acknowledge that we know that as we watched a white man's knee on the neck of a Black man, and then we saw the duplicate of that here in Phoenix with a white officer kind of senselessly and insensitively kind of kicking over a Black man that needed support, that needed help. We know that as we watched that, it was violent and it was traumatic to our very souls. And we know today that it's not just the families that are commemorating these losses. We have all been touched in a very deep way, and we showed up in very many ways. We showed up various ways, and just by the horrific events we witnessed last summer, families are mourning the loss of their sons, their father, their boyfriend, and we grieve them too. And so much has occurred over this past year, and we still have so far to go to create a world where Black families are safe and free from state violence. And we just want to pause right here in this moment and take a deep breath. Let's just take it in, and let's just blow it out. Because not only did we see violence, we saw the heart of evil. We saw how this type of systemic violence take away our very breath. And so then I pose questions like, when we don't want to envision seeing that same vision because it's just painful to even think about. But clearly, as we saw what we saw, we felt it as a whole entire community reeling in disbelief, reeling in pain. And so I asked this question this evening as we remember how we made it to this point. We made it here collectively. We made it here thoughtfully. And I asked the question as you look introspectively as how that event impacted your life in a very personal way, and then in a communal way, how that event impacted you and how it made you step up and not only become an ally, but become a family to mass live. How can you tangibly see your growth and how it impacted you? We've had to absolutely demand that the system be dismantled. We've had to challenge ourselves. And when you think of this level of pain and systemic harm, how do we cope? And how have you coped? How do you take all that pain in and make it something that really is relevant to impacting change? How have you become different? And I just want to pause for a minute because I've asked a lot of how have yous, and I want you to kind of digest. The bigger question is, how have you seen yourself show up in tangible ways because of such a horrific view of such a violent loss? And you can drop your responses in the chat. you can drop it in the chat and we will pause to read some of those responses. But I just want to share, as I spoke with Dion's mom today, I felt her bottom. I felt where that pain is and just the drain of energy from having to experience such a thing. And it felt almost like she had to cheer me, but in pouring back, because I was listening attentively and I asked her the question, tell me something about Dion that you would want the whole world to know. And she said Dion would call her each morning and greet her with, hello, my queen. And he would end each evening with, sleep with the angels. And I said, if I could interpret that with her permission, I asked her if I could reinterpret that, would it be safe to say Dion knew the value of life and he was saying, good morning, we have this opportunity to live and to continue to have this opportunity, sleep in safety, rest in peace tonight. And so that's why we show up in these spaces, because we all should be able to sleep with the angels and rest in peace and safety. Dion leaves a daughter, a 15-year-old daughter, and he leaves 3 brothers and a sister. And we hold their hearts this evening as we commemorate such a violent loss. And I will tell you, the joy, Dion's mother said he has a favorite song. I've never heard the song. It's called Return of the Mac. She said he played it every day, Return of the Mac.
It's a very happy song.
A very happy song. Were there any responses to the question? How are you showing up? And what is your commitment for change? And how do we just continue to dismantle such atrocities and this violent system? We'll have to play that song. It seems like everyone's heard it but myself.
We will play it for you, Ms.
Excuse
Roz.
me.
I want to give folks time to get their answers together, but I did want to share a couple people who really helped support Mass Lib during the initial uprising last summer. They have since moved out of state. And I was just checking in with them today, and they were saying, you know, because I've been keeping them informed of what's going on in city council and defunding the police. And they said, well, what that city council doesn't know just yet is how every action they take that increases Phoenix police power to harm the Black and brown communities that they're assaulting just fortifies everyone at Mass Lib's commitment to keep with the movement, to build in a stronger way so that we will defund PPD. So I just wanted to share those answers that people already gave today without even hearing that question in this space, because it really does inspire me. And I see all these faces that are on with us tonight on our Zoom chat, on Facebook with us. They're folks that joined during that time last year. It's been a long haul to get to this point, and you people do not quit. And we love you and appreciate you so much for it. And I think there's an answer in the chat now.
Yeah, Petra says, I think it pushed me over the edge rather than just showing up for marches and amplifying voices through my social media accounts. I knew that I had to find groups that were really doing this work and help them in whatever way I could.
Right on.
I know that I can say that it made me fear for all of the Black men I know and don't know in a real way. And it made me want to hug and lift up every mother of one of those Black men.
Wow. Thank you so much for your responses. I'm certain as we sit and think about what those responses are, our hearts are turning cartwheels because we think of the many things and the many areas we have grown. We found our voice, we found our tribe, we found our strength, and we continue, as Patricia so gracefully stated, we continue to show up.
Fatima Roslin in the chat said that I was already part of Mass Lib. Fatima, do you mind if I read your words for you, or would you like to read them?
You could go ahead.
Okay. I was already part of Mass Lib, but I became more involved in Mass Lib. I noticed people were more interested in abolition, and I used that momentum in what I knew to tell more and more people about abolition and defund the police. It became my personal responsibility to share what I learned to others.
Mm,
Vanessa
yes.
came off mute to answer.
Okay, so the first part of that, how have you become different? I feel like I've become different, but also more authentic in who I am and my values. And I feel like Mass Lib has really structured my values and really embedded the authenticity of how I really feel and how I want to show up in the world and just in the community. So I feel like showing up and my commitment is really aligned to just saying yes to everything. That's how I do it. So it's like, what is there that needs to be done? And yes to all of it. So that's sort of my commitment. And this is an amazing community.
Thank you, Vanessa. Helen, you want to go next?
Yeah, I think I'm thinking now that I think these two murders for me, it was something that really moved me over the edge to really want to make a change. And I walked away from teaching kids and I started going to school for social work because I knew I wanted to do something more meaningful. But now I'm learning how even that system is not the best either. So I'm learning along with you guys, what abolitionist work really means and how to really make a more impactful, have a better impact in the community and, to build with people that know the way and can tell me, how to best be of service. So it's just been into like, kind of like Vanessa, like, where do you need me? Like, how can I show up? And I'm ready to go. So I'm just trying to find my way too. But yeah, this really was like the edge for me. That I was like, I need to do something different. So, and this is where I am today. So it's been a whole year since then.
Totally appreciate you, Helen. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate all of you. Thank you, Vanessa. We have Karen on Facebook. An answer to question number 1 was that they continue to find and use their voice and that's how they've changed in this space and in this time. Chelsea and Ben.
Yeah, thank you. I remember, I think it was probably painting signs for Deion Johnson rally. And Chelsea was like, we've got to defund the police. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. So here we are a year later, and I've completely not only understood how violent and harmful and overinvested the police force is, but I've also done a lot more kind of gazing at the system as a whole to understand how completely set up against us it is. And I try to share that with all of my friends who are kind of like, things are fine, in very detailed ways that I hope will kind of flip a switch, but, and found all y'all, and I'm really happy to be here, but.
Yeah, I think for me, I was became really aware of what harm I could cause unintentionally as a white woman, just by existing in space with people and with Black and Brown people specifically. And so that made me really start unlearning and kind of like intensifying my anti-racism and abolitionist journey. and which led me to realize that direct action is it. Like, we have to be in direct action together. And so, yeah. And then we went to the budget rally where a bunch of different organizations were kind of, presenting, and we saw MassLib, and we're just like so inspired by the passion and the plan, like the organization, and just like the way that you guys draw people in. And yeah, it just really felt like we found somewhere that we could plug in and continue to learn, but also still take really meaningful action.
So yes, what Chelsea said across the board. I've been hovering on that chat with my eyeballs, so 100%.
Seriously, two things I've learned about you is that you as a very dope couple engage, like then you are seriously like already the best husband ever, because whatever Chelsea says is your second answer to stuff. You've got the formula, friend. Miss Rosalind?
Yes, yes. So I absolutely want to thank you each for sharing your responses. They really came from a heartfelt place, and I'm excited about what evil means for evil. It has been MassLib family that has made it for good, and collectively, we have really began to develop something very different and something very powerful. And so, though we pause and we commemorate the occasion that we're here in regards to Dion and Floyd, we want you also to pause and just hold your own heart and know that you get to be the eyes and the ears, you get to be the boots on the ground, the feet for these individuals that are no longer with us. And you get to say the things that they can no longer say and do the things that they can no longer do. And we do it with energy, we do it with love, we do it with high integrity. So I just want to say thank you for the many ways you're showing up. Thank you for the self-growth, the measurable, tangible growth. We thank you for your investment of resources, and we thank you for all you're doing. It's because of you we get this job done. Continue to be growing abolitionist. And I'll pass it to you, Fatima.
Fatima, before you go, thank you, Miss Rosalind. There is a comment from Kaylin on Facebook, and it said, it's made me think more concretely about my values. I used to think about abolition in a more compartmentalized way, but now I apply those abolitionist values to more of my day-to-day decisions. And yes, that totally makes sense. Sorry, Fatima. Thank you.
You're okay. Thank you again, everyone, for sharing. And thank you, a special thank you to Miss Rosalind for beautifully facilitating that. That was hard. However, we know that we all have each other, we're all together, and together we have people power. And so it made me think of the chant that we do in protests: no justice, no peace. And so what does that mean? We know that when they don't hold cops accountable, that is not justice. And we know at the same time that caging the murderer and killer cops isn't the justice that we seek. We know for sure that Dion Johnson and George Floyd not being here, being murdered, is not justice. Until we get full justice, where we see Black people as human beings, and we eliminate the carceral system, we will not stop organizing. We believe that Black lives matter. We believe that Black people deserve to be safe and that these two men should still be alive. We know that this problem is systemic and not just two people. We know that cops kill people because the system is anti-Black. We know that cops don't value or respect Black lives. And we know that they know they won't be held accountable. And so when there isn't justice, we will not sit idly by. The solution is not caging killer cops, like we said. The solution is working towards building a just system. We must continue our work to defund the police, to shrink the whole system. We must continue to diminish the power that they have over our lives and their ability to harm Black and Brown people. We must work to limit the amount of people that the police are able to come in contact with. Reinvesting in our communities is also part of the solution. If we took that money away from the police and put it back into our communities, and if everyone had the resources they needed, police wouldn't need to exist. When there is no justice, there is no peace, and we will not stop organizing. We ask that you all stay with us like you have, and we really appreciate you. And we work to defund, as we work to defund the Phoenix Police Department, and as we work to abolish the carceral system altogether. And so what you can do today is to help provide deeply necessary and immediate relief to Deion Johnson's family by supporting or attending the BLM benefit concert. And so we're going to transition into our first video. This clip shows a clip of our rally and petition drop that we did when we dropped the petitions with Bruce. And so we're going to get some info on MCAO's fake accountability. So Gabe, please take us into the video.
Out from our politically charged investigation.
Boxes of petitions being dropped off at the Maricopa County Attorney's Office demanding prosecutors permanently drop charges against protesters in Phoenix last year. For months now, our investigation exposed major problems with the cases.
Police and prosecutors exaggerating, lying, even charging protesters as a criminal street gang. ABC 15 investigator Dave Biskuping's work has had a major impact, but as he shows us tonight, community leaders and activists believe more needs to be done.
In front of the county courthouse, dozens gathered with several demands, and the signs make it very clear what they're demanding from County Attorney Alistair Adele.
Demanding that all charges be dropped for protesters with prejudice, meaning that they will not bring them back up.
Bruce Franks Jr. is a well-known activist. Police targeted him for arrest and then lied to a grand jury, saying he bull-rushed officers. We exposed that never happened, and after our investigation, his case and nearly 36 others were dropped. But like Bruce said, those cases were dropped without prejudice. It's not clear if prosecutors will attempt to refile.
These prosecutions are absolutely political.
The most egregious charges came against this group arrested on October 17th. Phoenix officers and county prosecutors worked together to charge the group as a criminal street gang. They even told a secret grand jury the group was like the Bloods, Crips, and Hells Angels. County Attorney Alistair Adele has declined our interview requests. But in a recent court filing, her office now admits the case was, quote, deeply flawed, and the gang charges were based on an untrustworthy and dishonest informant. But to those who were arrested and charged, admitting that now is not good enough. In addition to dropping the charges, they want the county attorney to disband MCAO's First Responders Unit, which brought the protest cases, and pay reparations to those impacted by the, quote, political prosecutions.
We got 5,285 signatures on a petition calling for these same demands. And that's only the first batch, y'all. But they need to see us. They need to see the faces of those who they have harmed.
The group then marched from the county courthouse with the boxes of those petitions and took them directly to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. I'm investigator Dave Biskuping, ABC 15, Arizona.
The Maricopa County Attorney's Office confirmed the petitions were received. In a written statement, a spokesperson says the cases are undergoing further review. As a direct result of our ABC 15 investigation, Phoenix police launched 3 outside investigations into the city's protest cases and response. Maricopa County Attorney's Office also ordered an outside probe into the gang charges. Officials say they don't know when those investigations will be complete, but you can catch up on all of ABC 15's reporting
Fatima, did you lose audio? We good?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this section, I'll actually be doing the second video, Zoraida.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you just said.
Oh, I'll be going over the second video. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yo, did you see all those boxes of petitions? Did you see all of that? That was all Mass Live Love. That was all people that we got engaged with the text bank. Can you raise your hand or just say some snaps or hugs in the air or something if you were part of that text bank? Because all 5,200 and blah, blah, blah of those was all because of the work that y'all did in that text bank. So as we were partying, we were still spreading the word, and look what it turned into: boxes and boxes and boxes of demands that we be listened to and that we won't be silent. So I just want you to please jump off of mute, because I really want to hear your voice, especially because I know that y'all were directly the reason why that happened. What stood out to you in that clip that you just viewed?
I mean, it just really goes to show what being persistent gets you. Like Bruce always says, like, they'll get tired before we do. And it's a great example of that like we can literally show how many of the charges we've been able to get dropped. And it's just because we keep showing up and everybody is like keeping at it and still caring, week after week after week, which is great.
And they keep thinking, maybe this will be good enough, and it's not. Which is great.
Right? Anyone else?
I think it's really interesting to look at the juxtaposition between where the police feeling like they have power and violence, and then you see the clip at the end and the power in people, and that is such a sort of a stark difference. And seeing the people power, seeing people marching towards the Maricopa County Attorney. So I think that's really powerful.
Thank you, Vanessa. Anyone else that let their fingers do the texting? Or anyone from Facebook? All right, let me ask you this. After watching that clip and seeing the power of the people, as Vanessa so eloquently just said, what Mass Live value just resonates with you at this moment around this topic? And you could drop in the chat or pop off of mute. I see Chelsea and Ben say all of us or none of us. Absolutely. I'm feeling love and rigor. Anyone else have a value that is resonating in your heart after seeing that clip? Oh, Patricia dropped in the chat the question. Awesome. Yeah, what Mass Live value resonates for you right now? Black liberation is mass liberation, is what Fatima said. All of us or none of us too, says Helen. I'm always feeling love and rigor, says Petra. Putting people in cages is never the answer, Miss Rosalind. Awesome. Y'all are the business, for real. All right, so there are still folks, we have done so much work, and that the text banking and the petitions that were dropped off was also beautiful and lovely work, but we still have one more charge that remains, and that's Sue. And the MCAO office is refusing to dismiss their case. Even though we dropped off 5,000, and this is the exact number, I know Bruce already said it, but 5,285 petitions, and there were only 4 simple demands on those petitions. One is that we drop all the charges with prejudice, end political prosecutions, disband the First Responders Bureau that's out of the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, and pay reparations to all people who are harmed by Phoenix PD. But instead, what they're doing is they are blaming their informant. They're just passing the buck on and throwing people under the bus. so that the false charges that they created can ring true. So calling their own informant untrustworthy is just exactly what that is. Does anyone know the actual status of Sue's case as it stands today? I was hoping, yeah, go ahead, Patricia. I see you jump
Still
up.
her charges remain. They have not been dropped. So that's why we're still pushing for her.
Gotcha. So they still have their charges out there. Got it. Thank you, Patricia. We know that Phoenix Police has 3 open investigations. It was just listed on that clip, but they're insisting on continuing to refer to them as riots. And those 3 open investigations are costing us a lot of money. And they're going to be conducted by people who are in cahoots or in solidarity with police. The county attorney's office also has an outside investigation into their gang charges that they created to silence and politically prosecute people for exercising their given First Amendment rights. And so who knows when these will be done? They're spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to get this done. We have no end date. So we have no idea when this is going to happen. But what we can be certain of is that cops investigating other officers or other cops is definitely not the solution to the harms that they've caused. We don't trust anything that the officers are saying or doing, and we shouldn't really even trust what the investigations bring back because they're all in collusion. We know that paying for these expensive investigations is just a ploy. It's just like a Band-Aid on a deeply gaping wound that is bleeding us dry. It's also apparent that make it apparent that they possibly care, that they're trying to make change when we know they're not. Nothing needs to be investigated. It's plain as day that we already know and have so much proof that it's just obscene. They don't need to keep pretending. They just need to go away. Maricopa County Attorney and Phoenix Police are anti-Black. We know that they are extremely violent and have a vendetta out for leadership who is calling out for justice and liberation for Black people. So we need to keep our focus and energy on the real solutions, which is defunding the police, and that at very least dismantling that First Responders Bureau needs to happen. So we have another video, and I need to warn you and this is really like an honest warning for a trigger, because it shows officers attacking Sue, who it's just very violent, and it shook me. So I'm just giving you that trigger warning. You may want to look away when you see Sue on the sidewalk, because it does happen very quickly and very, very violently. So I'm giving that trigger warning. Gabe, are we ready to? Oh God, I need to take a breath. I'm so sorry, y'all. I need to take a breath because this is really hard to watch. Gabe, are we ready to show?
Video of a protester being tackled and arrested by Phoenix police. The protester is Suvarna Ratnam, and we'll be showing this video a few times in this story because it further shows Phoenix officers cannot be trusted in these protest cases. Right now, Suvarna's case is the last Phoenix protest case that's left. The rest of them, more than 36 in total, now dismissed amid our politically charged investigation.
ABC 15 exposed the cases were filled with bogus gang charges, wild exaggerations, and lies. And tonight, ABC 15 investigator Dave Biskuping is about to show us this last case has some of the same issues.
The arrest happened at this street corner near this lamp post, and even though the case is still active, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office is now admitting that major parts of what Phoenix police claimed happened didn't happen.
You better stop! Is this necessary?
Before Phoenix officers tackled and charged Suvarna Ratnam with multiple felonies, here's what police say happened, and pay attention. Suvarna, quote, took a water bottle and threw it. Then while running away, she took the umbrella in her hand and started to swing it back and forth with force while running toward the police sergeant, then leveled the umbrella toward the police sergeant and used it as a weapon to stab him in the hand. Now watch the video at half speed. Remember, police claim Suvarna ran towards officers swinging the umbrella with force, then leveled it to use it as a weapon to stab them. Police also wrote, the umbrella that was used as a weapon has a 3-inch sharpened metal tip on it that struck the police sergeant with such force that it bent the metal of the umbrella. Here's a picture of that umbrella tip from police evidence.
What do you say about those allegations?
That's absolutely ludicrous.
I was holding on to a dollar store umbrella with a plastic tip that I think is impossible to sharpen. And outside of that, I don't know why somebody would sharpen an umbrella to begin with.
We spoke to Suvarna and her attorney, Ken Countryman.
The conduct of the law enforcement in this case is just, it's outrageous.
Yeah, it's reprehensible.
For the umbrella, Suvarna was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That's a Class 2 felony. The only charge that's higher is murder.
And the whole profile of Sue has been just outrageous and untrue, and they need to dismiss this case. They need to stop targeting her, stop harassing her.
There's more problems with the evidence in the August case, but before we get to that, Suvarna was also arrested as part of a group on October 17th. It was maybe the most notorious of the protest cases. Phoenix police and county prosecutors charged this umbrella-carrying huddle as a criminal street gang. Officials even testified they were as dangerous as the Bloods, the Crips, and the Hells Angels. After the October arrest, prosecutor April Sponsel tried to convince a judge to keep Suvarna locked up without bond until trial.
And frankly, she is a threat to our community. She's a threat to the officers out there in the street. She's a threat to regular, normal members of the community. She had, in a previous occasion, where she had an umbrella with a sharpened tip on it sliced the hand of a Phoenix police officer who was trying to arrest. On the date of that offense, she was found with balm-making materials, i.e. acetone, rags, lighters, things that are available for making Molotov cocktails in her possession.
The judge didn't buy it, and Suvarna was released.
There's nothing further. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
She did not sharpen an umbrella. She did not have acetone. She did not put any kind of substance in a bottle. They've accused her of throwing incendiary devices, which weren't incendiary devices.
In police reports, officers documented they found acetone, or nail polish remover, in Suvarna's backpack. But they wrote it was discarded and are unable to identify which supervisor gave the order. Officers also wrote Phoenix's crime lab does not have the capabilities to test the water bottle.
And if they thought she had something, they wouldn't have destroyed it. So that's just false.
The initial prosecutor, April Sponsel, is off the case. She was removed, placed on leave, and put under investigation after our investigation broke. And given the new issues in the cases, the new prosecutor filed this motion to reduce the charges against Suvarna. First, to take the water bottle charge from a felony aggravated assault down to a misdemeanor disorderly conduct charge. And next, when it comes to the umbrella, the new prosecutor wrote, the metal tip does not appear to have been modified or made sharper than its original condition. And after considering the totality of the evidence, the state submits that it's appropriate to reduce the level of the aggravated assault on that count too.
I just don't know why we're still here, but we're standing here, and we're going to proceed this all the way through.
So you're ready to go to trial?
She's not pleading to anything that she didn't do, and she didn't do anything.
Now, we reached out to Phoenix PD for comment, and in an email, they told us that the contents of the water bottle were, quote, not relevant at the time of the arrest. Now, we also asked about the officers' claims about the umbrella and if they had any additional video evidence to show that their officers were telling the truth about the alleged stabbing or the thrown water bottle. But Phoenix ignored those questions altogether. I'm investigator Dave Biskobing, ABC 15, Arizona.
That was all those lies. Very ugly to watch. Before I go into it, what did you all see? What stood out to you the most?
Oh, I accidentally unmuted myself. Everything stood out. The lies. It's so much. It's so violent. It's like I'm sitting here outraged.
Yeah, I can't even like think of one thing really to be mad about. The whole thing made me so mad, and it just feels so incredibly just evil. Like what? How can this be? It's ridiculous.
So in the chat during the video, there was some comments that April Sponsel is a violent and dangerous person, and listening to her lie about this case is disturbing. From Facebook, Kaylin says, this is so transparent and so absurd. that this is horrible. We have comments that how just totally fabricated PPD and MCAO's side of the story is. We have 2 comments on Facebook. Kaylee says the shamelessness of the violence and the shamelessness of the lies. And Karen says the physical harm done to Sue is heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just, since we are on Facebook Live, I do want to answer Chelsea's like non sequitur question, like how can this be? We know for damn sure it's because the system was designed to do this. That's a brown woman. The lies they told, not just the Phoenix Police Department, okay, those lies could have went away had MCAO had a shred of truth telling, but they added to it. They built upon the lies. They worked together, colluded to destroy her life and politically prosecute Sue's life. They wanted to destroy their life. So it's absolutely by design. And why is because of anti-Blackness and absolutely white supremacy.
Mhm. Thank you all for sharing. Yeah. So we know that the police cannot be trusted. And we see that in these protest cases. Sue's case is the last protest case left. The rest of them were all dropped. We're just waiting for this one to drop. Just like all the other ones, this is full of lies. We even saw that the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, in the video, they admitted that the Phoenix police claim whatever they claimed didn't happen. And so that's very crazy. They're just like caught up in their lies. And so Sue was first arrested on August 23rd for protesting against police violence and for racial justice, like the rest of us, except that they charged her with a felony. They charged them with a felony. They said that Sue used an umbrella as a weapon, that the tip was made of metal, and that they sharpened it when Sue said that they got it from the dollar store and that tip is plastic. And the next lie was that Sue struck the police so much that the tip of the umbrella bent so much. And we saw that Sue did not strike the police. And we're very thankful that someone was able to film Sue, because if that wasn't there, where would we be today? Yeah, so because of the police's lies and the prosecutor's lies, Sue was charged with aggravated assault, which is a class 2 felony, which is 1 class lower than murder. Does anyone know how many years someone would be sentenced if they were convicted of a class 2 felony? Trisha says 10 to 20. And you're saying years or months? Years. Anyone else want to take a guess? Upwards of 30.
Someone said 7 to 21.
Exactly. So from what I saw online, if someone had no prior felonies, there's a minimum of 7 years and a maximum of 21 years. Can you believe that? And they lied, and this was their intention. They did all that so that Sue can be charged of aggravated assault, and for Sue to be sentenced and incarcerated for that long. Sue was also arrested on October 17th, as we saw in the video. They were charged with the group, the Umbrella Gang, as a criminal street gang. And after that arrest, we saw the prosecutor, April Sponsel, tried to convince the judge to keep Sue locked up without bond until the trial. April said that Sue is a threat to officers and community members alike. And they said that Sue was found with bomb-making materials. Sue is brown. The police documented that they found acetone in their water bottle, but then they discarded it, and the crime lab didn't have the capability to test it. wouldn't it make sense, like Dave said, to keep it and test it as evidence? They really don't stop lying. Thankfully, the judge didn't buy it and Sue was released. But isn't that so disgusting? I know myself personally, I feel really disgusted because for Sue to be treated like that, to be handled like that violently, and this is the last case yet to be dropped. It honestly makes me think about how darker people are seen as more violent and thus treated more harshly. And right now, Sue is experiencing housing instability and has been barred from receiving financial aid. They aren't able to continue their college education as long as this case is open. And Sue, I remember in the beginning, I saw Sue in the early politically charged videos where they said that they were going to Harvard. And I believe that they are a PhD student. But seeing that that's the last charge yet to be dropped and that they were arrested twice and they were not able to receive financial aid makes me think this isn't by accident. And so it's important to remember that this is also bigger than Sue, that the system isn't broken and that it was designed this way. Something else that we also wanted to mention was that that we're wondering where is Adele, and we haven't heard a word from her. News came out that Vince Goddard, one of the prosecutors in charge of these protest cases, has put in his resignation. So maybe Adele is next, we're hoping. Yeah, so after all this, since we're running out of time, I wanted to go into the call to actions. As we mentioned, there is a benefit concert for Deion Johnson's family with BLM, Black Lives Matter Phoenix Metro. They're inviting the entire community to show up and support a benefit concert honoring the life and legacy of Deion Johnson and of George Floyd. So if you haven't, you can buy your tickets. You can check out the different price points, and all the proceeds from the event will be given to Deion Johnson's family. If you can't make it, you can also donate. The link should be in the chat. The second thing is that we want to free Sue. As we've seen, Sue was the last protester with pending charges. Please help us get them free by flooding Alistair Adele's and the Maricopa County Attorney's Office lines at 602-506-3411. We can put that in the chat too. So if you can, make a call between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. any weekday. Lastly, HB 2309 has passed, as you all have heard. The Senate Rules Committee will be hearing this any day now on the Senate floor. Please help us continue with public pressure against this protester punishment bill by joining these actions and sharing them on your social media. On Twitter and Facebook, you can tag either of our own, either your own state senator or some of our targets on a post about why voting to pass this bill will put them on the wrong side of history. So continue calling, emailing, public pressure works. We have so many talking points about why this bill is horrible. You can find all the actions you can take in the link in the Zoom chat or the Facebook chat. Last thing, drop the charges. Maricopa County Attorney Action Committee is on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Please join us to get more information on how to get more involved as we strategize moving forward with this campaign. And I will now pass it to Zaraida to close.
Okay, hey Gabe, since we just got information, thank you, Fatima. Since we just got information from Ms. Roz about Deion Johnson's favorite song, do I have permission to play it really quickly? Is that cool? While we close out? Hey! Hey! All right, y'all, thank you so much for being here. You know, we totally appreciate you. I know we'll see you at the call to action the rest of the week. We are praying for your health and safety. We hope that y'all staying happy and safe together. And we're looking forward to seeing you. Thank you again for being here tonight. Everyone on Facebook, thanks again. And to our very, very kind and loving volunteers, thanks again for your help tonight. And of course, my beautiful colleagues. So anyway, thank you. Enjoy the song. before we get in trouble by Facebook. Thanks, everyone. Hey, Jay. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Samantha. Bye, Helen.